Brilliant, thank you. Now, it might be the season of goodwill, but for the politicians in Washington trying to get to some sort of agreement over how to solve the debt crisis, well, time is really running out. They have until the end of the year to save the country falling off what's being called a fiscal cliff. Our US correspondent, Dominic Waghorn, reports.
The first family, Christmas music and a very big tree.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
The holiday season's well underway here, but there's nothing festive about the politics. Politicians are still at loggerheads, each accusing the other of being the problem and of behaving like children.
No substantive progress has been made in the talks between the White House and the House over the last 2 weeks. Listen, this is not a game. Jobs are on the line, the American economy is on the line, and this is a moment for adult leadership.
Congress and the White House have till the end of the year to reach agreement on ending America's debt crisis. If they don't, punishing tax increases and spending cuts automatically kick in.
More tea, sir.
America's heading for what's called the fiscal cliff, and gridlock over it's becoming a national joke.
I guess it's time I explain to these good people the upcoming fiscal cliff. Think of the economy as a car and the rich man as the driver. If you don't give the driver all the money, he'll drive you over a cliff. It's just common sense.
As they prepare for Christmas, many Americans are failing to find the funny side of an issue that could cost each family thousands of dollars.
You would think there'd be one answer, and everyone says, well, it's just math. Well, if it's just math, why can't you just do the math? If it's simple addition and subtraction, then shouldn't anyone that is educated be able to do it as opposed to bickering about it?
It's very frustrating. They can't make up their mind what they want to do, and I don't know why they can't get along when they want us to get along at work. I mean, we private sector, public sector, the job is to get it done.
For a country hurtling towards economic doom, there's little sense of urgency in its capital. You'd expect all this concern to be focusing minds here in Congress. But the corridors here are relatively empty after House Republicans gave themselves a 4-day weekend and won't be back till Tuesday. Americans are left wondering if there's enough political will in Washington to solve this. And the rest of the world far beyond Washington. What happens here will affect us all. Lawmakers have been told they won't be going home for Christmas till they've reached agreement. But it's looking like a long, hard winter. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News, Washington.
Let's talk to American political expert Dr. James Boyes. Good to see you, as always, James.
Good morning, Stephen.
Look, explain to us in really simple terms what a fiscal cliff is and why it is apparently a bad thing.
You know what? I don't know if I can do any better than Monty Burns, quite frankly, and I never thought I'd have to follow him. Here we go. Dominic's piece was very insightful there. What you're talking about here are two diametrically opposed positions with regards to the budget. You've got the President of the United States, a Democrat who's just been re-elected. He wants to basically increase taxes and not reduce spending. The Republicans in the House of Congress, who control the coffers and all spending issues, the President can't spend a dime without the House of Representatives, don't forget. They want to basically reduce taxes and reduce spending. So you've got a very diametrically opposed positions here. Neither side want to give in, and both sides are already looking ahead to the midterm elections of 2014.
But whilst you can see why it would be painful, there is a view, isn't there, to say, well, if you're going to increase taxes and reduce spending, actually you're going to get out of the problem a lot faster.
One of the problems you've got here are political divisions about how best to go about doing this. Just as you get here between the Tories and the Labour Party, so you have the same between the Democrats and the Republicans. The biggest problem here, Stephen, though, is that this is a real short-term fix. The plans are talking about maybe knocking $1.2, $1.5 trillion off the federal deficit. That sounds like a lot of money until you realise that the federal debt is $16 trillion. So this is just another short-term fix in many ways, and it's the latest in a long line of these. People keep trying to kick this into the long grass, not deal with it on a long-term basis, and we keep seeing these short band-aid fixes, which basically solves nothing in the long term.
Well, what is surprising, I guess, with some of this is the fact that there are these automatic triggers, that they are really having to work to a timescale here.
They are, and this is, again, because of the fact that in the past, they've not been able to sit down and thrash out these issues. They tried to have this thing called a super committee last summer, for example, that was going to trigger all this and make sure that nothing happened. And it was kind of like a nuclear option. And they couldn't even get that to work. This is why we're in this position now, because there's been a lack of an ability to deal with these problems in the past and to try and put short-term fixes on it. And no one is answering the big questions that need to be asked in America.
It's all very interesting, and we can all look at it and say, you know, fascinating political stuff, but does it really matter? If it does happen, if it does drop off a fiscal cliff in the new year for the States, what impact will that have for people in the States, but also then how it spreads across the rest of the economic community?
One of the great things that the markets depend upon, of course, is confidence. And if the markets don't have any confidence in the political leadership in the United States, you're going to see a reduction in the markets on Wall Street. That will have a knock-on effect here in London, for example, and that will have a real detrimental impact upon the lives of most people around the world whose pensions, for example, depend very much upon the performance of the stock market. So this is going to have a real knock-on effect if we can't get this rectified in Washington on a global basis.
Who's got the stronger hand at the minute? Obviously, I mean, because it seems to be Obama versus Boehner, the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I mean, who has got the stronger case at the moment?
Well, arguably, they're going to say that we've both got a mandate. Obama's just been re-elected, and so has the House of Representatives. They're both already looking ahead to the midterm elections of 2014, when all the House of Representatives will be up for re-election. The Republicans can't afford to blink in this. Go back to 1995, the government shutdown that brought Monica Lewinsky into the White House. That was because of a shutdown between the Republicans and the presidential nominee in the White House, Bill Clinton. Clinton won that and won re-election. The Republicans remember that. They don't want to lose this. They want to retain control of the House in 2014 with a view to leapfrogging to the presidency in 2016. So we're already looking ahead 1-2 electoral cycles from now, even though we've only just been through one presidential election.
Just fascinating stuff, James, and I will talk to you again very soon.
I look
For
forward
now,
to it,
thank
Stephen.
you.
Thank you.